Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on June 1st, 2022 at approximately 1:48 p.m. PST. Now, things are getting interesting. There's no question there. Like I said, when we're aiming at, well, before I get into that, I return to this world for one primary purpose at this time in this lifetime. And that is to pass on a simple message to everyone in existence. That message is that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, things are getting interesting in my little world. So if you like the video, do give me a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel because I've got a lot of information coming out. Today's a little different. Okay, as far as the way I'm going with this. Because I just got off the phone. Now, my life has been simply put more like science fiction than anything else. Okay. Right now, getting my world working, getting my home running properly is overlapping drastically into getting my house in order. Now, as I said before, starting when I was 10, I started working in the consulting industry, helping people. At the time when I started, I started with 16, 17-year-old kids that were striving to understand what their personal relationships were looking like. But because I grew up on the military base during the Vietnam War, many of the questions were literally, are my mom or dad coming home? Are we going to have to move? Is our transfer coming up? This sort of thing. Now, from there, it evolved into personal calls, into business decisions, and the one that is really pertinent today is the issue of UFOs, alien races, alien technologies and cultures. Okay, I mean, I've been dealing in the metaphysical field since the day I was born. Okay, but here's where the phone call became really strange. Like I said, to get your home working right, you do have to get your mind working correctly and working efficiently for you. This is not a question of whether I feel your mind is working right or things are working the way you desire them to. This is the question of whether you do and whether or not you do. Now, this little book here, this is the one I got off the phone call just got off a phone call for. Okay. Now, I have no idea where this is going. At this point, we only just had the first phone call today regarding potentially being in a documentary down the road. Have no information regarding what it is, don't even know if it's going to come to pass. But what I do know is this book here, this one here, Races of the Worlds, is one that I've written. It's got 59 different races in it, okay, that I've personally dealt with. And this is just one of the pictures I'm getting drawn up. Okay. Now, as you can see, that's a Maldoc. The information is in the Races of the Worlds. Okay, and I'm working on volume 2 right now. But the other thing is this series here, the Yldrbac Chronicles. Okay. Now, the first 2 books here are already in print. Okay. Now, any of the books that I'm writing can actually be found through me directly. If you look at the bottom of this list at the bottom of this video, you'll find a list of different books that I've got in print already. Okay. But, I really have to send a really big thank you to Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio. I've been working with him now for, I think, 7 years. And one day I should ask him and see if we can figure out exactly when, see if he can go back through his records. Okay, and find out when we actually started. But I think it was 7 years ago, where I've been on the show on R. Keith Andrews and the ET Connection on Spaced Out Radio, the first Friday of every month from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. PST. Okay, now the reason I wanted to give a big shout out to him is because it was his referral that put the individual on the horn to me regarding potentially participating in this documentary that he's working on. Okay, so I got a whole pile of things on the go. But what I had to do, like I've got my office set up properly so that I can actually function with it. The real kicker to it is I got to figure out some way to actually install behind me here a white screen that I can block out what's behind me. They need it for the film. From my standpoint, I'm a pretty simple individual. This is what you see is what you get. But with that in mind, I've got the brain in my home sorted out. It's running properly. Okay, now what I've got is a whole list of things that I've got to deal with. Okay, not the least of which is putting together a synopsis for races, or for a synopsis for the end of an epoch, which is this one, the second book in the series I've already got. And all of the books that I've got on the list can be ordered directly through me via PayPal. And the answer to the other question is to access my PayPal account is innervoiceenterprises@yahoo.ca. Okay. So if you look at the bottom of this video, you'll find a list of the books, a list of their cost, including shipping and handling. Okay. And do understand all the prices listed under by the books are all in Canadian funds. Because, well, frankly, I'm in Canada. But, yeah, you've got to get, when you're looking at changing the way your life is working, you have to decide, are you content with the way your life is running right now? Are you personally content? Not, am I content? Okay, and the thing is, the reason I call myself a spiritual guide is because every tool that I offer, okay, is a tool that I personally use. Okay, if it applies to my life, I personally use it. The philosophies of life that I talk about are the same philosophies I talk and that I live by. And just to be clear, because when you look at this book, okay, this has 59 different races I've personally dealt with. Okay, now some people would say, well, is that just your imagination? It's kind of like the chicken and the egg. Did the imagination trigger this, or did the knowledge trigger this? Okay, don't have an actual solid answer for you on that note. But what I do know is that all of the information that I put there is personal experience. It is not a question of being me doing a whole pile of research. Okay. And the reason for that is very simple. Okay. I don't get out of the house much. I mean, I go to one restaurant, I go to the grocery store, and as often as I can get away with, I go for a walk around the local park. Okay, just to get my exercise in. Okay, that's the neat part about it. Okay, now the other thing is, and I'm just going to drop this out there for you. I was considering doing it anyway, but I'd love your comments. Something I would love to know, and this has nothing to do with the rest of it. This is simply personal opinion. Okay, I won't be changing my hairstyle, but I am considering cutting it back and removing this side of it. I used to have hair all the way down to here. Okay, if you look at my previous videos, you'll see it that way. But what I am asking is, in your opinion, and I'd love your comments. I haven't entirely decided yet, and I've already got input from my other half. But I'm talking about from your standpoint. The sideburns I'm not getting rid of. Sorry, they happen to be, to me, they are simply shall we say, a reminder of my father. So they stay. I'll neaten them up a bit, absolutely. But from your standpoint, okay, and absolutely, Dave, if you end up seeing this video, your input and your personal perspective, I certainly hold in higher regard than most strangers I know of. Okay, quite frankly, from my standpoint, I pretty much see most people in the same light. It doesn't matter to me, skin color, racial differences, gender, money, it doesn't make any difference at all. Okay, I simply look at everybody the same way. Now, I am taking a look at the world that I've got, that I live in, going, my life has been more like science fiction than anything else. So on this list, and this is the way I keep things moving in the right direction. Okay, now, I don't expect you to read it because you can barely see it with that. Yeah, that's what's called my writing. But all that is a list of different tasks that I've got laid out. Okay. But by doing that, you start off, you put three tasks on a sheet of paper. Keep those tasks to 15 minutes to half an hour in length. When you get one completed, check it off. Okay. And then add a third one to the bottom. Now, this is another one of I've got 6 books in print, in all fairness. And of course, I can't reach it. Or I can't see it, one of the two. That's Believe in Your Business, which makes, where is the other one? Yep, okay, that ain't gonna work. That's always nice. Can't figure out where the last book is. Oh, that's because I said it up front. Okay, I've got another book that looks very similar to this one. Actually, right there. Tells you we're a little scattered, doesn't it? There we are. This book here is the one that actually gives you the backbone of how I got my life turned around. Believe in yourself and follow your dreams. Okay, and like I said, I've got 6 different books in print. But the trick is to decide, are you content with the way your life is running right now? If the answer is yes, this is great. Because I'm referring to the way it feels to you, not the way that everybody else figures things. See, the funny part about it is this. I spent my life, one of the goals that I had in life was to figure out how to fit in. How was I going to gain acceptance from people? Because my life is so bizarre, in all fairness, that it was very difficult for me to deal with anybody. Picture growing up metaphysically activated, as in I was a working psychic even before I knew what a psychic was. Way before I knew what a psychic was. Dealing with alien abductions. Even if we look at music, most people that I grew up with, okay, I grew up in a small town, and most people there were into rock and roll, were into that sort of thing. Into what people call classic rock now. Myself, country. Still am. But the rest of my life was completely screwballed. Okay, so I've grown up as best I could, but very reclusive. And now to get this phone call to possibly end up on a documentary, okay, has meant that I've really got to take a look at things. Okay, and this is why I said from a visual standpoint, okay, I won't change my hairstyle, because I'll tell you, after having my hairstyle this way for the last, probably 30 years, trying to change its path at this point is kind of pointless. But I've got no problem shortening it. What I'm considering at this point, this is why I said I'd love your input on, okay, is I'm considering removing the hair from around the ears itself. These I'll tidy up. Okay, but I know that things have to be a little neater where it comes to being on TV, where it comes to being out in public. Okay, I suspect a lot of the reason I let it go to pot, that I ended up letting my beard grow as much as I did over the time. I suspect that was also a way of going, I don't want to deal with people. I have no interest in the jealousies and the greed and what have you that most people are run into have. I just don't get hung up on it. And when you don't look absolutely clean cut and what have you, people tend to back away from you a little more. Okay, it's very much the same idea as many people, and I've got nothing against anybody, but many of the people that I've dealt with over the years have put on a lot of weight. And a lot of the times that's just to simply keep people away from them. Well, I got to a whopping 246 pounds at one point, about a year and a half ago now. And I hit 246 and went, there is no way I'm breaking 250. Last I checked, I was down around 203. Hopefully I'm down more. Okay, and this is something I'm working on. But let me know about your input or your thoughts on whether or not cutting my hair. I'm thinking of cutting it up to here, to the top of the to the bottom of the ear here, except around the ears, because what you've noticed, I end up rubbing at my ears a lot. Well, that's the reason I'm looking cutting it back. Okay, but I'd love your input onto the length that it should be left, that sort of thing. And I realize you guys are not necessarily hairdressers. Some of you may be, I don't know. Okay, sorry, the glasses stay with me because I can't see very far without them. However, I don't like them much. So what I've got is a whole list of things to deal with. Putting summaries together, but where it comes to today, the big task, the first one I'll be doing once I get this dealt with. Like, once I get finished recording this. And this is a live recording. Meaning, when I get finished, I simply post it, I simply check the date, and post it as is. Now, I don't know what's going on with Facebook right now, but it stopped printing for whatever reason. It has stopped posting the picture when I put a link up. It doesn't, I haven't changed anything, but it doesn't often put the actual video link on Facebook anymore, which it puts the link, my apologies, doesn't put the video picture. Okay, and I have no idea what happened there. Again, if you've got any idea, absolutely, let me know. Okay, I will be getting in touch with another person I know in order to expedite putting a website up and what have you, so that I can start dealing with the books directly, especially the Yldrbac Chronicles. Now, the neat thing with the Yldrbac Chronicles, as much as that's the novel, this book here, Races of the Worlds, happens to be a reference manual that has the data on the books. Okay, but it's more of a reference manual than anything else. When you run into those same races in this, you'll see more of their social interaction. Okay, and since I don't know where it is, I've shown it to you before. It's right there. This little book here. This is my hard copy of The Return to Paradise, the third book in the final trilogy. That I'll be working on today. Okay. Only now I really have to get focused and start actually making things happen. Same applies to you. If there's something in your life that you're not content with, understand you can talk to everybody you desire. Look at every opportunity out there. But you're the one that's going to have to do the work, that's going to have to put the effort in. Now, one of the books that I am working on, okay, takes the formula for success and puts it together. Now, when I'm talking about a formula for success, it's a set of tools that will work if you're a millionaire. Okay, it will be a book that covers everybody, no matter what kind of money you have. Okay, and it tells you how to make it, how to take your idea, how to get you to figure out what you consider success. For me, I take the little successes, like getting my office set up properly so that it will run smoothly. I've got that running nicely. You know, that's the nice part, and from my standpoint, that's the easy way of looking at it. Okay, it's just a question at this point of how do you cope with it. You know, that's the biggest thing right there. Now I'm just looking. I know I've got to pick up some white sheets to block off what's behind me for when they do the video. Okay, for if it happens. Right, but you have to take a look at whether you're content with your world. Now, again, we're talking about what Easterners call feng shui, which really boils down to how to guide the energy in your physical world. The principle works like a charm. But when we're talking about energy, to get a practical feel of it, take your hands, put them towards each other, but separate them by about a quarter inch, maybe half an inch, and focus focus on the energy between them. Now, understand, when we're talking about electrical energy, the energy runs one direction. If you want it to go the other way, you got to modify the layout. With bioenergy, biomagnetics, it literally runs in both directions at once. So when you put your hands together, you'll feel some sort of energy there. Some will call it bioenergy. Some people will call it magnetic heat. Some people refer to it as healing energy, such as Reiki. Doesn't matter what you call it. You could call it a peanut butter sandwich. It's still the same thing. Okay, but the more relaxed you are, the faster you try English. The more relaxed you are, the less stress you're going to be feeling, the easier it will be to deal with that frustration, with that depression, that things aren't moving forward properly. Now, I've covered a lot of ground over the last little while, and the thing I will tell you, if you're following a spiritual guide that tells you that you should fear everything around you, you may be following a person that's leading you into a real annoying future. I will tell you, from my standpoint, it's a real simple issue. These are the tools that I get to get my energy running smoothly. I just have to keep an eye on time here. There we go. Okay, now, you're the one that's going to have to do the work. Okay, and I am asking for your assistance in this respect, because one person is not going to change the tide of society. And the thing you have to remember, when we're dealing with the different races around you, and when I'm talking different races, by the way, humans, cats, dogs, plants, they're all the same. Okay, they all are individuals. They all have a sentience to them. Don't get me wrong. I've yet to see a plant today that will get up and program a computer. Okay, but I will tell you they are the best oxygen filtration system transfer system around. Okay, the only one that even comes close is the human lungs. Okay, but do plants have their own personalities? Absolutely. And I showed you guys this one before. Still waiting for her to tell me her name, but I'll let you know when she does. But this is one of two plants that I managed to get to grow. Okay. And she's growing rather quickly at this point. Let's just see here. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Whoop, I think I counted that wrong. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 18, 19. Yep, we got 21. It used to have 11 when I first got it. Okay, but I work with energy. I work with changing the direction that your life is going. Now, the tools I use, I am not the best of the best. Okay. And, am I an expert? In my opinion, no. Am I a specialist in UFO phenomenon? Am I a specialist in UFO races and cultures and much of their technology? The answer is yes. But I'm not researched, as in I have not read a whole pile of different things. I haven't even read a whole pile of things in the way of psychology. Matter of fact, when I was going into grade 8, because I was tired of being bullied, I actually desired to take a course in psychology so I could understand why people were picking on me. Okay, but I was told, and this is quote unquote what I was told. You cannot, and I don't know who said it. I do know it was a person that I saw as a person of authority. This could have been military, it could have been my parents, could have been my grandparents or a doctor. I just don't know. What I do know is they told me literally, you cannot take any form of psychology because we have enough professionals playing around inside your head. We don't need some amateur screwing it up. Now, I was told the same thing regarding getting martial arts defense. Because again, I was tired of being bullied. I was going into grade 8 and I really didn't want to have anything more to do with it. But again, by somebody of authority, I was told, quote unquote, you cannot take any form of karate, any form of martial arts training, because we are afraid you will systematically go out and kill 8 people. Okay, now, to me, that neither one of those on their own matter a whole lot. And again, I have no idea who actually made the comment. But 20 years later, when my childhood memories started to come back full force, I told my dad they were coming back. I said, Dad, they're a little sketchy, but they're there. Dad's immediate response, and understand my father has since passed away. But, he passed away in 2016. But he told me flat out, he never even blinked. He looks at me and goes, well, you were never supposed to expected to remember your childhood. Now, I got thinking, who would come up with a comment like you were not supposed to remember your childhood? Adds all kinds of questions as to what happened. But understanding, I remember being in my labs and what have you, your whole outlook on life is different. And I know some of you have been through that. For me, it really boils down to this. Getting my life in order has been an ongoing endeavor. And now I've got things moving in the right direction. My hope is that through these videos, some of you, at least one of you, and I do know a couple, have gotten back to me and said it's worked. Hopefully, by offering you these tools that I've used to successfully land on my feet, hopefully that will give you the kickstart to actually get your life moving in the right direction for you. And absolutely, I don't care what the question is, don't care where it comes from or what field. If you've got questions, I'd love to hear about them in the comments below. If you'd like to drop me a personal line, there's a whole list of ways of contacting me underneath this video. And I will do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Now, I got a whole list of people that I've got to get a hold of today, which works out well. It'll keep me occupied. But with that in mind, I will be back again tomorrow. Before I finish that thought, tomorrow morning, today's Wednesday, Saturday morning at 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific time, I will be going live again. Don't know what the topic is just yet, but I'll figure that out. In the meantime, I will be back again tomorrow sometime. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.